you probably saw the headlines, 8 offensive players rolled into Kansas City for tryouts. And yeah, that's not a coincidence. Right now, the offense is dealing with injuries at the worst possible time, and the front office is looking for quick, practical ways to stabilize both the line and the special teams units. The visitors break down cleanly. 3 wide receivers who mostly bring special teams upside, and 5 tackles who could be either stopgap veterans or developmental depth depending on health and scheme fit. The key takeaway up front is this: the Chiefs aren't shopping for a headline superstar. They're trying to buy availability and versatility. If the offensive line can't protect, or the return game keeps giving up field position, none of the flash plays matter on game day. So these tryouts are less about who looks flashy in shorts, and more about who can step into a role next week and not make things worse. That means you should watch for 3 signals. 1. Immediate. Ability to play special teams. It's why the WRs were invited. 2. Whether any tackle brings proven NFL starting reps or simply flashes upside. And 3. The team's comfort with short-term health questions. A guy who's great when healthy isn't much use if injuries keep stacking up. Before we dive deeper, do me a quick favor. Vote in the comments. Which group worries you more right now? The offensive line or the WR special teams group? Also, hit like and subscribe to help us hit 6,000 hard-earned subscribers so we can keep bringing in more timely breakdowns like this. Let's start with the wideouts, because even though they're the least likely group to crack the 53, their impact goes way beyond catching passes. The Chiefs brought in 3 receivers: Wee Davis, Eric Ezukanma, and Jaquan Jackson, and every single one of them has one thing in common. They offer potential help to a special teams unit that desperately needs a spark. Wee Davis is the cleanest technician of the trio. At 6'1" and 210 pounds, he's not a burner, he's not a jump ball monster, and he's not the kind of guy who's going to take the top off the defense. But that's not why he's interesting. He's a polished route runner who can survive in the slot. And more importantly, he shows legitimate return ability. And right now, that's gold. The Chiefs aren't looking for a WR5 to run go balls. They're looking for someone who can catch a punt cleanly, get vertical, and not lose the field position battle every Sunday. Davis is the smoothest, safest option of the group. Eric Ezukanma, meanwhile, is the opposite type. A big, aggressive, YAC-first playmaker with real physicality. At 6'2", he attacks the ball, runs hard after the catch, and can be used in motion and gadget looks similar to the way the Chiefs use Rashee Rice. If you want a wideout who can take a simple touch and turn it into 12 yards, this is your guy. He's not joining to be a WR3, but in terms of explosive upside, he's the most intriguing receiver in the group. Then there's Jaquan Jackson, the smallest but easily the most electric athlete in space. He's a burner, quick, twitchy, and dangerous when the field opens up. That makes him the clearest pure returner candidate of the 3. If the Chiefs staff walked away thinking, "We need someone who can house one," Jackson is the name that fits that vision. He doesn't bring the same physicality as Ezukanma or the polished roots of Davis, but he's the best bet for a big, special teams play. Now, the reality: none of these guys are likely additions to the 53-man roster strictly as receivers. The current WR room has enough bodies to get through the season, but if Kansas City decides the special teams issues are officially hurting playoff positioning, and that's a real conversation right now, one of these players could get a call-up as a return specialist or a hybrid depth option. Before we jump into the offensive line group, let me get your take. Would you actually sign any of these receivers to the 53? Drop a yes or no in the comments, and tell me which one you'd pick. And as always, make sure you're subscribed. We're pushing towards 6,000 subscribers, and every new sub helps keep these breakdowns coming. Now, let's get into the group that actually has a realistic shot at impacting the roster. The offensive tackles. Kansas City didn't just bring in 1 or 2 linemen. They brought in 5, and that tells you everything you need to know about the state of this offensive line right now. Injuries have stacked up, the depth has been stretched thin, and the front office is clearly trying to patch holes fast. The most recognizable name in the group is Zach Banner, the massive 6'8", 353-pound veteran who carved out his best NFL reps in Pittsburgh. Banner is a power-first right tackle who wants to move bodies downhill. He's not the prototype for the Chiefs' usual athletic style, but he brings something the line is missing: sheer force. With BD, how physical the AFC is becoming and how much Mahomes has been pressured recently, bringing in a proven mauler isn't the worst idea in the world. He's also the type of vet who can step in without needing weeks to learn protections. Then there's Nicolas Petit-Frere, easily the cleanest and most polished lineman of the bunch. If you're circling one name as the most likely signing, it's him. He's athletic, long, fluid in pass protection, and has real starting experience at both tackle spots in Tennessee. Footwork? Smooth. Balance? Strong. Ability to recover mid-rep? Better than most depth tackles currently on the market. If Kansas City is looking for someone who can reasonably protect the edge without becoming a liability, Petit-Frere fits the mold perfectly. Deontay Smith brings a different flavor. Developmental upside. He's long, light on his feet, and shows flashes of strong pass-pro mirror ability. His issue is strength and consistency. And right now, the Chiefs need reliability, more than long-term projects. Still, he's the kind of player where coaches say, "Give me 6 months with him, and you see something real." Zachary Thomas is the technician of the group. A smart, balanced, steady lineman who rarely finds himself off-platform. He's not overly explosive, but he's reliable and versatile, which makes him an attractive emergency option for any offensive coaching staff. Andy Reid has always valued intelligence and assignment discipline, and Thomas checks both boxes. Finally, Matt Waletzko is the athletic swing tackle with real upside, but also real injury concerns. When healthy, he moves surprisingly well for someone built like a radio tower, and that kind of length and mobility is rare. But availability matters, and Kansas City may hesitate to add another player with durability questions while already battling injuries. The bottom line, Petit-Frere and Banner are the 2 names that make the most immediate sense if the Chiefs need someone who can contribute right away. The others offer varying levels of upside, but timing and reliability matter more than raw traits right now. Now let's take a step back and look at what all of this actually means for the roster. Because when you zoom out, the real story isn't just whether these fringe players flash in camp. It's how the Chiefs can fit everything into a 53-man structure that's already tight at several positions. You know how this goes every year? 3 or 4 guys absolutely earn it on tape, but the numbers game works against them. Start with the defense. Kansas City is deep across the secondary, and that means 1 or 2 young DBs who show real promise may still slide to the practice squad simply because you can't keep 11 defensive backs. Same thing at linebacker. The top 3 are locked in, and the team likes their 4th and 5th options, so a strong camp doesn't automatically equal a roster spot. It might just mean your first call-up when injuries hit. Offensively, wide receiver and running back math gets even tougher. At receiver, the Chiefs probably keep 6, maybe 7 if someone forces it, but that's rare. So when a young guy or a veteran reclamation project pops during camp, you still have to ask, who's he beating out? At running back, special teams is the tiebreaker. If you can't cover punts, you're probably not making this roster. And that's where special teams becomes the hidden deciding factor. Dave Toobe's influence cannot be overstated here. If two players are close in talent on offense or defense, the one who plays cleaner, more reliable special teams wins the job almost every time. That's how bubble players survive in Kansas City. So let's talk outcomes. Best case, 2 or 3 of these camp standouts make the 53 outright, and a couple more get protected on the practice squad. Worst case, injuries force the Chiefs to juggle spots they didn't want to touch, and a promising player gets poached by another team. But today's signings at least give Kansas City leverage and flexibility they didn't have yesterday. So now that we've broken down the roster battles, the tryout players, and how the 53-man math works, let's talk about what this actually means for the Chiefs in the short term. Because the truth is, moves like today's aren't just about filling out the bottom of the roster. They're about protecting the offense, stabilizing special teams, and making sure Kansas City doesn't lose its grip on the playoff picture. Let's start with the offense. Any added depth at receiver, running back, or tight end gives Kansas City optionality, something this team desperately needs as they push into the second half of the season. Even one reliable new contributor can take pressure off Mahomes, off the protection calls, and off the weekly game planning stress that comes with thin rotations. And if one of these additions ends up becoming a real piece, that's the kind of margin that can decide playoff positioning. As for the front office's next steps, there are 3 I think you should expect. First, don't be surprised if Kansas City adds a veteran offensive lineman, someone with versatility, someone who can play guard or tackle, someone you trust if an injury hits. Second, I'd keep an eye on special teams help. When Dave Toobe raises a concern, Brett Veach usually listens. And third, look for the Chiefs to delay 1 or 2 roster decisions until the late preseason injury picture is clearer. A spot you think is locked today can reopen instantly if someone goes down in August. Put all this together, and what you really see is a team trying to make sure every weakness is identified and patched before the schedule tightens. The AFC is too competitive for hesitation. Kansas City knows this, and today's roster activity shows they're preparing aggressively for the run. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Drop one roster move you'd make right now. Add a vet, cut someone, promote someone, anything. I read every comment. And of course, make sure you subscribe to help us reach 6,000 subscribers and hit like on the video so more Chiefs fans can join us.